A dangerous fugitive who savagely murdered a woman while she was walking her dog has been jailed for life. Roy Barkley had been on the run from police for 2 years when he attacked Anita Rose, 57, on a footpath in Brantham, Suffolk, on the 24th of July last year. Anita died 4 days after she was found with serious injuries, and Barkley, 56, of no fixed address, was sentenced to a mandatory life term of life and will serve a minimum of 25 years after he was found guilty of murder following a trial at Ipswich Crown Court. Judge Martin Levitt told the killer there were still unanswered questions as to why he did what he did. On the day she was attacked, Anita left her house at about 5 a.m. She was found less than 2 hours later by members of the public on a track off Rectory Lane next to the London Ipswich railway line. The mother of 6 had suffered serious injuries after being kicked and stamped by Barkley and died 4 days later in Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge. The killer's DNA was discovered on Anita's jacket and on the earbuds of her headphones. Barkley was finally caught after he was spotted in Brantham by an officer from Suffolk Police. When questioned, he had initially given a false name of John Leslie, but provided his real telephone number, and police were able to ascertain his true identity. Several days later, he was arrested at Ipswich County Library and subsequently charged with Anita's murder. The trial heard he had been living in a makeshift camp in the area while on the run from police for 2 years following an earlier attack. Prosecutors argued he also kept some of Miss Rose's belongings as trophies. At the time of the attack, Barkley had been wanted on recall to prison, having breached the conditions of his licence. He had previously been jailed for attacking an 82-year-old man in Walton-on-the-Naze in Essex 10 years ago. Anita's family were in the courtroom for the sentencing. Prosecutor Christopher Paxton KC outlined 11 aggravating factors in the case for the judge to consider in his sentencing. These included Barkley's use of sustained and excessive violence, killing in public, and the stealing and taking of Anita's property. Mr. Paxton said the defendant had also broken the conditions of the licence of his parole following the 2015 attack. Simon Spence, KC, mitigating, said Barkley's actions were not premeditated, which Judge Levitt agreed with. Barkley sat emotionless as he listened from the dock. The court first heard how Anita had enjoyed living in Brantham and had taken to help neighbours and other vulnerable residents when they were in need. Statements from several of her children were read out to the court. They talked of their mother's love for walking and how she was the centre of their family. Anita's partner, Richard Jones, described how the couple planned to grow old together and he had been haunted by her death. Her daughter, Gemma Rose, described the immeasurable loss and revealed she had taken to telling her own children about how dangerous the world is in an effort to protect them. One of her sons, Ashley Rose, told the court he had desperately tried to help the investigation by buying a drone to find some of his mother's personal items that had been missing and were later found in Barclay's possession. Judge Levitt said Barclay was an unpredictable, dangerous man who was prone to terrible outbursts of violence at the slightest confrontation. He highlighted how in the 2015 attack on a helpless 82-year-old, he had beaten the pensioner for 53 seconds, causing severe injuries. Barclay only served 5 years in prison before he was released on parole, but Judge Levitt told him this should have been enough time for him to work on his temper. When Barclay breached the conditions of his license in 2022, he became a wanted man and was on the run from police. Judge Levitt also questioned why Barclay had chosen to remain silent by not answering police questions when he was arrested, or why he did not give evidence in his trial. He said Barclay was still and will remain, for an unpredictable length of time, this dangerous person. We will perhaps never know what triggered this outburst of violence against Anita, he said. It may have been her challenging you about what you were doing. She may have caught you doing things which caused offence, but I am satisfied so as to be sure that, for whatever reason at the time of the incident, your intention was to kill Anita and not simply to cause her really serious harm. Barclay had previously pleaded guilty to remaining at large after being recalled to prison. For this, he was sentenced to 12 months in prison, which will run concurrently with his life sentence for Anita's murder. Detective Chief Inspector Matthew Connick, the senior investigating officer on the case, said, after the hearing, Anita had been subjected to the most shocking and violent attack. Roy Barclay was a deceitful and violent man who lived off the grid in solitude, he said. 3 days after the attack, he left Anita's phone in Ipswich, enabling it to fall into the hands of others while causing a distraction and diverting significant resources. This ultimately led to his downfall, with further CCTV obtained capturing his actions. Nicola Pope of the Crown Prosecution Service similarly described the attack as savage. Barclay thought he was too cunning to being caught, but the unanimous guilty verdict proved otherwise, she said. By carefully building a case with DNA recovered from Anita's belongings and sightings on the CCTV, combined with previous bad character evidence against Barclay, the police were able to present a clear picture of the jury. Please like this video, please comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.